in China. I don't know. Made in China. Let's see if I can find it. If it's like crazy long, then I won't do it. But if it's like 2 minutes. The Truth Factory, made in China. 10 minutes. Oh, it has a cat? I don't know. All right, what does chat think? Do you want me to go over this video and see if we can talk about it, or is it going to be a waste of our time? All right, we got 1 vote for yes. We got 1 vote for yes. We got 1 vote for no. Anybody else going to vote? Come on, this is democracy in action. Give me a vote if you want it. Give me a yeah. Do it? Okay, 2 for do it. 3 for do it. Okay, it looks like the democracy is demanding that I do this before I go into the last segment. Is it openly propaganda? We'll find out. It's not the Jedi way. I will sell my vote for $5. Oh, shit. All right, let's do it. All right, let's do it. We'll talk about this. Okay, so we are going to determine. There's a couple of things we're going to go into. I'm going into this completely blind. Here. Discussing, let's see, watching a Truth Factory video. Is it propaganda? Come find out. Let's find out. We will find out if this is propaganda or something legitimate. All right, Eris, don't worry. We won't be on it for too long. This is where it's the Truth Factory. It's where they make the truth. Let's see how this video goes. All right, so we got a cat. And truth.
Welcome back to the Truth Factory.
Okay.
It seems like several YouTubers are getting deleted and demonetized just for saying anything on this topic, unless through the mainstream media. And also in Canada, they're potentially making it illegal.
That was true in like March, that YouTube was indeed demonetizing. I don't believe they banned any channels over coronavirus, but they were demonetizing channels. Do you want me to turn it up? Okay, I'll turn. Oh, yeah. Sorry. There, I'll turn it up. So, yeah, cat. It's a cat. Hey, we got the we got to do the Chudlow Garfast here. Here we go. Here, let's get some, any of the Chud fans, put some Chudlow Garfasts in here. All right, so, okay.
Legal to talk about this topic in any way that goes against the official narrative. So I'm just going to double down on that narrative in hopes that I don't go to jail. Everyone
Okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but all right.
acting like there's some big conspiracy theory about the coronavirus, when really it's just a bunch of totally strange coincidences.
Uh-oh.
Like
oh my god, are they really opening with a corkboard right in the beginning? This is like a meme.
Chinese government, which has a totally perfect track record
YouTube
for
jail.
being completely transparent,
okay.
would ever stifle or prevent.
So, okay. Okay. I mean, this is a lot of shit. So this is one of the things. Okay, so I'm going to be serious, and I'm going to try and engage this without dunking, at least for the beginning. But this right here is like a really dishonest way of like starting it off. So look, they have shit like foot binding. Okay. So apparently foot binding somehow contributes to the idea that China might have a secret virus program. You have the Cultural Revolution on there, which was an incredibly massive event. You have People's Democratic Dictatorship, which is a concept. 2011 Chinese pro-democracy protests. These are all literally just random events in a list. No context provided. Remember, one of the things that I talk about a lot about right-wing propaganda is that they deliberately remove all context. I don't know anything. I know very little about like the details of Chinese history. Okay. I don't live there. It's a country on the opposite side of the world that doesn't speak the same language as me. So, okay. I think everyone can be in that position. Very few people can say their history. These are historical events. These are events or occurrences that sometimes, I mean, the Cultural Revolution unfolded over decades and decades and decades. You can't just put the Cultural Revolution on a list as like a justification for why China might have manufactured a virus. This is a thing that has its own entire history, an entire fucking, you could write a book just about this single bullet point. And I don't think that the conclusion would be, yes, the Cultural Revolution proves that China would make a virus. Yeah, and foot binding has something to do with like attractivity. It's like a traditional thing. There are things like that in this country. I mean, Americans, literally, Americans are not like non-Jewish Americans often get circumcisions, for example, or give their kids circumcisions for no reason, just for aesthetic or some other imagined cultural purpose. So we have the same shit here, just it just looks slightly different. This is actually, I know this is only 48 seconds in, but this is a pretty manipulative tactic right here. Well, I mean, but Rail Roberto, you could do the exact same thing. You could do the literal exact same thing about any country. Every single country in the world has atrocities that it has done. It also has historical events that could be interpreted badly if the effort. Yes, it's a visual gish gallop. This is the Vuvuzela argument on paper. It's okay. We're talking about China. Well, here's all these random things that we're not going to go into details about. Now, if this video was 2 hours long and not just 48 seconds over the YouTube 10-minute algorithm mark, wow. Then, you know, we might actually be somewhere. Yeah, well, but that's the thing, Rail Roberto. I'm going to watch this video because you've asked me to do it, and I think it's a good thing, but let's be real about this. This right here is blatantly manipulative. You see what I mean? Let's pick a random one. Chinese land reform. Here, I'm explaining. I know it's only 48 seconds in, but if you're interested in understanding what I think of certain things, here you can understand how I analyze a video. So, what was this? What were we looking at? Chinese land reform. This is a random one. I just picked a random one off the list. Chinese land reform. The initial campaign started in 1947 and went to 1951. The Chinese land reform movement, also known by the Chinese abbreviation Tugai, was a campaign by the communist leader Mao Zedong during the late phase of the Chinese Civil War and the early People's Republic of China. God damn, this certainly seems like this is a complicated issue, isn't it? Right? Like, this is, look at this. There's tons of shit. There's statistics and there's all kinds of events. There was a civil war going on, and people who were targeted on the basis of their social class rather on the basis of their ethnicity. The neologism classicide is used to describe killings. This is an incredibly complicated event that sounds very bloody. And while I don't support violent, I don't support the killing of people like that. I don't know anything about the historical context about this. So throwing it up at the beginning of this video as if to confer the argument some sort of credibility is just dishonest. Yeah, exactly. Quick line item and then it gets moving. But in reality, putting Chinese land reform on here should look like putting this article up on there. That's why these videos get really dishonest. Like they get dishonest fast. So let's continue.
Prevent the release of any relevant or critical information that could have prevented this entire pandemic that completely crashed the global economy. Of course, it's not suspicious at all that before the outbreak, there were multiple research papers published on exactly how bats can transmit the potentially deadly coronavirus to humans.
Yeah, like, what? This is an argument that goes against the current right-wing talking points. Literally, I mean, this one is from 2007. We've known this for a long time. Literally, pandemic experts who were fired by Trump, for example, literally gave these things to the federal government. Yeah, so yeah, this is just really, really, really silly. Like, again, we're only another 25 seconds in, and they're already doing something absurd. They're saying it's suspicious that potentially hundreds of articles saying that this is a problem were ignored by numerous, not just corporations, but countries. Numerous countries ignored this data. Like, not just China. A lot of these are Like, some of these are fucking done by American firms in China. As in, we have, previously, we had CDC researchers in China working with Chinese people to understand, working with Chinese experts to understand coronavirus. Keep in mind that SARS was a coronavirus. We've known about coronaviruses, and we've known that it was very possible for a coronavirus to strike us. Trump's hair was made in a Wuhan lab. Also, hi. Hey, Retcon. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right, let's keep going.
And there was even a paper published that discusses the creation of a new synthetic cell.
Wait a second. What are they doing here? What is this? A SARS-like cluster. Okay, so they highlight human emergence, and then they circle one name. Why did they circle this name? What is this for? Or is this to drive attention to one of the Chinese names on the list, despite the fact that we have Vineet D. Mencheri, Boyd L. Yount, Carrie Debink, Sudhakar Agnitharam, Lisa E. Grilinski, Jessica A. Plant? Where was this done? This was done by the National Med? Like, again, dishonest. This is what I'm talking about. This is dishonest. Do you, like... Again, we've barely moved anything. And another dishonest point. They use animations to misguide you. This is like magician shit. They do a little misdirection. You know, they're like, hey, look, there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 names on here. And they circle one. And they don't tell you why they circle it. But it just so happens that the one that they circle is a Chinese name.
That discusses the creation of a new synthetic self-replicating chimeric virus that's incurable and able to cross species, created using a coronavirus found in Chinese horseshoe bats that created human-like severe acute respiratory syndrome in mice. But it's just a pure coincidence that the same scientist named Shi Zheng Li,
oh, now they're going to explain,
who conducted these bad experiments, worked in a level 4 bioweapons lab in Wuhan, China.
By the way, this is not a bad experiment. Doctors, this is not necessarily a bad experiment. I don't know the specific experiment, but there are like sterile or limited versions of bacteria and viruses created in labs all the time, and more frequently, they're not actually created in the lab. They are projected by virtual models that they will generate a virus to study in a virtual model, so they can go, how the hell would this work? What would happen if there was one that could jump from here to there? That doesn't mean it actually exists or that it's viable as a virus. A lot of viruses that are created in labs are not viable in the wild. So,
origin of the outbreak. A lab that homes samples of these very bats that contain the virus that causes COVID-19. It's also totally not weird that in November of 2019...
But this is, again, it's totally not weird. They're literally just vaguely gesturing at a potential conspiracy with no actual evidence that that's the case. Like, imagine if somebody broke into your house and then like killed your family, and then you were left alive. And then the police came and they were like, it sure is strange that you survived and everybody else is dead. I guess we'll just conclude that you're the murderer and start ditching out propaganda that says that you are. This is just going like, yeah, there could be evidence, but we're not going to actually look for it. So, not so great so far.
Just a month before the first known corona outbreak, that this very Wuhan lab posted this job ad seeking scientists to research the relationship between the coronavirus and bats.
Completely natural. Multiple coronaviruses have arisen in various areas. It just so happens that there are a lot of bats and certain creatures that live in China, and also China has a very high, very densely collected population, which means that coronaviruses are important and relevant to be studying in any lab. It doesn't matter which lab it is. Wuhan is a very highly dense area. My city, I live in Seattle. There are tons of research labs. There are multiple virology labs within the city of Seattle. Wuhan is incredibly dense and has tons of different things, tons of different businesses and labs and factories all within this giant city. So this doesn't mean anything. This point is just completely off the wall. Yeah, there's a huge virology lab like 40 minutes from... Yeah, exactly. I know exactly which one you're talking about too, because it's where I used to live. Literally, like, this shit exists. These things are all over the place. That doesn't, like, these are not... yeah, exactly. You support Seattle, therefore you support research labs, therefore you support viruses. You're jumping multiple angles. You're jumping multiple questions there and just coming to your own conclusions.
Follow-up posting just
Maybe.
a month later, about 2 weeks after the first supposed outbreak.
And then, of course, we're taking their word for it that this is what it translates to. Keep in mind, there is no, they're not interviewing anybody. They don't have anybody on who can translate this. We're just taking their word for whatever this might be translated as. No citations, no nothing.
This posting looking
no
for
corroborating
more
data.
Scientists to help with a new discovery of a terrible virus and
Let's
its
talk.
potential to be.
But Rail Roberto, that's not true. The article is called Made in China, or the video is called Made in China, and this is from Truth Factory. She's not just trying to prove that China lied. Maybe that's all that she says she's trying to prove, but what she's doing in the video is not that. She is actually accusing China of having made the virus and pushing that idea in a very manipulative manner. Do you not recognize that videos can be manipulative, that you might have been manipulated by the messaging of this video? Yeah, that petty, sarcastic, conspiratorial stone. Like, I mean, I can do it right now. I can go, it sure is weird that Rail Roberto came into my chat and posted this video. Could it be that Rail Roberto is actually the Truth Factory? Yes, it's possible, but I have no evidence of that. So why, like, come on. Like, anybody can say anything under your rules. Yeah. Oh, shit. Yeah, it's the Truth Factory. You can't argue with it. No, don't worry. We're going to keep going on this. This is what I do. I'm a streamer. I don't fucking analyze this shit offline. I do this shit live. I do this shit fucking live. Yes, because Rail Roberto, you asked me to go over this, and I am challenging these things as they come out. If there is any, I have literally let her finish multiple segments and then discuss that point. We're going point by point.
Transmissible to humans. I think it's fair to say that we can just ignore all of this information. Even though it would be fairly easy for someone to accidentally get infected through either improper handling or disposal at this lab.
Is that true though? Is that true? Do we have any data on how easy it is for accidental infection to happen? I mean, I do believe it's plausible, but do we have any evidence of that?
Virus which can have a
None here.
14-day asymptomatic incubation period in which it could be easily spread from person to person without even being aware that they had been infected in the first place. Is also just a coincidence. Also,
I find it really ironic that they're showing that every person that they show sick in this video is Chinese, or is like looks, or I don't even want to say looks Chinese. They are Asian. Like, as they're literally targeting their Asianness in this video, even though, hey, guess what? We have the most cases right now by a long shot. That's pretty manipulative.
That several whistleblowers came forward to
yeah, they're
say
Southeast
that
Asian.
Xi Jinping's lab was haphazardly mismanaged, and that this is where the virus came from, including Zhao.
Yes, but they were just talking about a random they were showing a random person being sick, and they just pick all Chinese faces to talk in a video about how it's made in China. That certainly seems like they're hinting their audience at something, doesn't it?
Who published a report that revealed that researchers on multiple occasions in that lab had been splashed with urine and blood samples from the bats that were collected, and that they had to quarantine themselves for 14 days.
Okay, so they did that. Wait, what's the problem with this? They did the thing they were supposed to do. If there's a breach in a lab, then they get quarantined. What the fuck?
Xi Jinping wrote on social media that those spreading rumors about her lab leaking the virus should shut their foul mouths.
That's perfectly reasonable. What if I on Twitter I tell people to stop spreading rumors all the time. It's perfectly reasonable to go on social media and just be like, "Hey, stop spreading rumors about my fucking workplace." That literally happens all the time. It doesn't necessarily mean you're guilty or anything.
Not at all worrisome.
It's just something you do.
Want anyone to
hey, Trekkie. Hey, everybody. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Trekkie. You're wonderful. Thank you so much for sending people over. We are going over a propaganda video right now. I mean, it was presented at first as some sort of video of truth. It's by a channel called Truth Factory. We're going over it and sort of piece by piece addressing the very manipulative nature of the messaging. This video is, we're only 3 minutes into this 10-minute video, and we've already come across multiple examples of them being outright manipulative. So yeah, we're going over it and we're trying to offer some sort of critique so that people can, when they encounter propaganda, they can think about it from a perspective of analysis. Hey, thank you. Thank you so much. Deeply appreciate any follows, any donos, if you have Twitch Prime, shoot me a Twitch Prime sub. It means so much to my channel. But yeah, we're going to get right back into this. Hit me with those donos and subs if you got them. If not, just sit down and enjoy. We got a lot of stuff to go over. Are you guys are you number one in percentage? Damn. Trekkies. Yay. Thank you so much for coming by, Trekkie. All right, let's get this going. All right, let's get all these new people. Come on in and let's enjoy this.
Public of the risks and implications involved if an unpredictable and deadly synthetic virus with no cure were to somehow escape into the biosphere. It's all
just so you know, all viruses have basically no cure. Viruses are very hard for us to get rid of. We use vaccines to prevent the spread of viruses because viruses are incredibly simple and effective at evading medicines. We have very few medicines that can actually deal with viruses. We have to be immune to viruses. So that is a moot point. You can literally just strike that one off the list. All viruses are like that.
Also not weird that another researcher working in the same lab
thank you, Trekkie.
Hong Young Lin's picture, resume, and thesis have mysteriously gone missing from the Wuhan Institute website.
Bats! Lines! They're literally, is this person, are you sure that this isn't like a left-wing person parodying right-wingers? Because this really feels like a Poe. Bats! And then you have the red lines in the circles and a bunch of pictures. This is where is Huan Yang Ling? And then we have, this is silly.
Especially since it's been rumored that she might have actually been infected with the virus at the lab.
It has been rumored. It has been rumored with no citation. Okay, so you're literally just making things up at this point.
Weird that when a reporter asked about Huan Yang
yes,
Ling,
exactly,
that
Retcon.
the Wuhan Institute originally denied that she had ever existed. But since her being a part of the Institute is
Pepe Sylvia, exactly.
The Institute later remembered...
Who is Pepe Sylvia? Pepe Sylvia! Who the fuck is Pepe Sylvia? You see here, Pepe Sylvia, Pepe Sylvia, Pepe Sylvia, scribbling all over the walls and screaming, and it's just a misread? Literally.
That she did, in fact, exist. That she's alive and well, and somewhere totally unaccounted for, and that her complete disappearance is only a vicious rumor, and that they'll take legal action if anyone asks any more questions.
Okay.
So we can safely say that that theory is totally Snopes debunked.
Okay.
There is nothing more
Again, not a single drop of evidence was here. Literally just said, there are rumors with no source for those rumors. There are rumors. Well, guess what? There are rumors that the Truth Factory, I don't know, fucks cats.
Here, since we know that the virus officially started at the Wuhan seafood market because people were eating bats.
We don't know that. We also don't know that. In fact, the current theory is that it was actually carried by pangolins, which contaminated other food. Not that that people were eating bats. This is literally just a lie and not the truth. This is just literally made up. And also note, no citation. Zero citation.
We need to ignore this paper citing that over a third of the original patients, including patient 0, had no connection whatsoever with the market. And that while you may think that COVID-19 leaking from a virology lab
that means
where
nothing.
They were studying samples of bats that contain COVID-19 sounds very...
She literally just said that let's go back. Here, let's go back. We're going to go back a second here. Ready? Watch. Listen closely. Ready?
Seafood market because people were eating bats.
Because people were eating bats.
Need to ignore this paper citing that over a third of the original patients, including patient 0, had no...
Oh yeah, oops. I didn't realize my own camera was blocking this cat face. Here, I'll shrink my camera down so you guys can see the unsettling cat face.
Whatsoever with the market, and that while you may think that COVID-19 leaking from a virology lab where they were studying samples of bats that contain COVID-19 sounds very possible, get that out of your head and listen to the Chinese government and the communist news network's official narrative that the disease originated at the Wuhan wet market, a market that doesn't even sell bats and where there were no bats found. I mean, you can...
What? She literally just made up the thing about bats and is now angry at the Chinese government for saying that it came at a different market where there are no bats. That's counter to her own argument. That's counter to her own argument. Yes, this is conspiracy cat. This is straight conspira boomer. Like, I thought you were gonna give me something. You want me to rewind again? I'm not gonna rewind 100 times. Let's go back and let's listen again.
Since we know that the virus officially started at the Wuhan seafood market,
People were eating bats.
Because people were eating bats. We need to ignore this paper citing that over a third of the original patients, including patient 0, had no connection whatsoever with the market.
She's saying the opposite of that. You're being confused by her own video. She's saying that we know, quote unquote, that the bat eating was what started it, but that it couldn't have started in the specific market they're saying because of the fucking fish market.
And that while you may think that COVID-19 leaking from a virology lab where they were studying samples of bats that contain COVID-19 sounds very possible, get that out of your head and listen to the Chinese government and the communist news network.
Yeah, this avatar is very cursed.
That the disease originated at the Wuhan wet market, a market that doesn't even sell bats and where there were no bats found.
Okay.
I mean, you can buy and eat peacocks, koalas, giant salamanders, civets, and rats there if that tickles your fancy, but no bats. So if this story is true, in order for the Wuhan...
All right, bye, Windleby. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for coming by. See you soon.
To be the place of origin of this virus, it means that bats flew over 1,800 kilometers from their natural habitat in the caves of Yunnan province, a straight line equivalent to the distance from New York to Colorado, to a highly populated and polluted seafood market which just happened to be less than 4 kilometers away from China's only level 4 bioweapons lab that just happened to be...
I am quite sure that there are bats in Wuhan. I would be willing to bet money. Bats live everywhere. Are you kidding me? So this is so incoherent. Like, I can't even address this. This is so incoherent. Like, how am I supposed to address this specific part? What is this even saying?
From these very bats. The same bats now sightseeing in Wuhan must have simultaneously infected people who were not at the seafood market at this time.
What?
Scientists who worked at that virology lab that were just, again, coincidentally studying those very bats with that very virus. You know, it really makes you think. In fact, the probability of all of these coincidences coinciding is virtually 0. But if that's the official narrative, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist.
You are, don't worry. You are.
For everyone's personal safety, the Wuhan wet market was immediately shut down and cleaned without any further investigation, as if they were destroying evidence of a crime scene.
Or do you think maybe that they're lying and they were worried that they were exploring multiple potential vectors for the virus, and that the Wuhan quote-unquote wet market, which is by the way a buzzword, there are fucking wet markets everywhere. There's a wet market in fucking Seattle. In fact, it's one of the biggest tourist spots. Pike Place Market is a fucking wet market. They sell fish and animals there. It's so ridiculous. It really makes you think. You know, it really makes you think. It really makes you think that maybe the cat avatar person has an ulterior motive.
And by
Pubs, that depends on if it's the European or an African unladen bat.
January 1st, the very same infectious disease research lab in Wuhan tested samples from the seafood market that showed some traces of the novel coronavirus, making the Wuhan wet market the scapegoat. I mean, the only true and real narrative.
So what they're saying is that the lab found samples of COVID-19 in the market, and they also decided to close the market, and that is somehow proof that it came from the lab. Is this for real? The bat becomes the Joker. You know, sometimes all it takes is a little bit of an ee. You want to know how I got these wings? That's all I have to say. Let's keep going.
For this entire thing. Then a WHO-appointed expert panel arrived in Wuhan immediately after the first patients tested positive and established a set of diagnostic criteria that stipulated that patients needed to have a history of contact with the Huanan seafood market in order to get a novel coronavirus diagnosis.
Yeah, that sucks. That sounds really short-sighted. That sounds like a fucking terrible mistake.
Panel do this knowing that
it's weird. It's almost like most governments in the entire world are not very good at dealing with viruses. In fact, humans aren't very good at dealing with viruses, and we often make stupid mistakes that come back to bite us later. But if we had if we had better communication and more wholesome health systems, maybe we would stop some of these oversights and stupid decisions. How do I get my Val blood now? I don't know. Isn't the definition of a wet market a market that dabbles in wet works, i.e. you can buy live things and have them killed if you need it? I think that's one possible one definition. I've heard multiple definitions used for what is defined as a wet market, and also keep in mind that many many American fish markets sell live creatures, aka lobsters, fish. They're all over the place. Literally, like I can go to the fucking market on the corner and they will have fish that have been brought in that they can kill for you there, so you can cook them when you go home. So even if it is, they're fucking everywhere. It's a thing that people do. Yeah, I mean, for the record, I am very, very sympathetic with vegan arguments, though I have my own critiques, and I am not yet vegan myself, though I hope to be someday. Yeah, these things are bad. They're of course bad. They're also everywhere. So can't really point this to be some kind of like made in China thing. That's just how it goes.
At least a third of the original cases testing positive had no connection at all to the seafood market. Well,
yeah, that's because it's a virus and it spreads like crazy, you fucking idiots. Okay, this is actually getting stupid. This is actually stupid. Like, yes, that's the entire point of a virus, is that it spreads. So people who never went to the market catch it from people who went to the market very easily, especially with a virus that spreads like this one. Come on, this isn't even an argument. This is like stupid.
No. But I'm sure it wasn't influenced at all by a group that China formed to combat this virus that was full of Chinese propaganda officials, including the vice chairman of the group, who is the Communist Party's propaganda czar. Like, obviously, if you're trying to stop the spread of a deadly...
Okay, membership of the Chinese Communist Party. Again, no context or links provided for this, so we have no idea. Literally could have been typed up before the video by this cat. I have no idea. Membership of the Chinese Communist Party. Also, like, keep in mind that these position names are like old. They're old. Like, these names, like a lot of the CCCP like ideology and propaganda is the same thing as our like what the fuck is it called? Department of the Interior, the people who manage American propaganda. We have the same thing. We just don't call it ideology and propaganda. This came from an earlier period of the past where this was like considered to be acceptable naming conventions. I still think they're shitty naming conventions because I'm not an authoritarian and I don't like there being government offices for ideology and propaganda of any type, whether they're Chinese communist branded or American capitalist branded. They're both pretty bad.
Virus, you wouldn't put more virology experts and doctors on the panel. No, it's far more helpful to have propagandists there, so that way they can tell everyone what to think.
I mean, let's be real here. I don't know anything about the so-called propaganda bureau. All I know is that we regularly have press people, like, for example, I don't know, like here in America, Jared Kushner, who isn't even a doctor, is literally the final say on everything to do with coronavirus. So isn't that kind of the pot calling the kettle black? Isn't that kind of fucked to be like, oh yeah, they have propaganda people on it, but we have like some random business frat boy who's in charge of the entire thing? He's not just on a council, he is the response. Yeah, I mean, sure, I guess.
Wait a minute. But it's not like China's government was trying to silence an entire scientific community, including Dr. Li Wenliang, who broke news of the virus in late December, but was severely reprimanded by Wuhan's authorities for rumor mongering. And then he died a short time afterwards from the very same virus. But don't ask questions about this totally weird coincidence.
How is that a coincidence? How is it coincidence that someone who lived and worked in the lab in the city that got decimated by the virus first died of the disease? That's not a coincidence. That's what happens when a plague hits. Do you know how many doctors we've had die? Do you know how many people in various positions we've had die? Come on.
It's also just a coincidence that
no, the
after all
board
of
doesn't
this,
seem to be a
the Chinese
joke.
Ministry of Science and Technology released a new directive
Bats.
titled Instructions on Strengthening Biosecurity Management in Microbiology Labs that handled advanced viruses like the novel coronavirus.
Okay. So what this person is telling me is that China realized what this indicates. Now, I don't know anything about this quote because there's no proper source provided, but this quote is saying that China responded to its mistakes and said, we need to do better. Is that not exactly what's being said here? Let's see. Instructions on strengthening biosecurity management in microbiology labs that handle advanced viruses. So this is them saying, yeah, we need to do better. Let's do better. Okay.
Like the novel coronavirus. It's an even bigger coincidence since the Wuhan lab is the only microbiology lab in all of China that studies advanced viruses.
I don't think that's actually true. This is really bad.
Who would help cover
I mean, let's find out about that. Let's find out. Let's check this one. Let's fact check this real quick. Let's find out. Let's find out real quick. Hey, Corn Pop, I'm a bad dude. Nice name. I love your name. We're going over a Truth Factory propaganda video that so far has been very unimpressive. Let's see. Early release epidemiology. This is cdc.gov. WWNC. What is that? Oh, okay. Let's see. Okay. This is just generic information about it. Let's see. Here's one. Let's see. This is an old one. Wuhan Institute of Virology. Let's see. The Wuhan Institute of Virology is a research institute on virology administered by the Chinese Academy of Sciences, located in Wuhan, Hubei. Mainland China's biosafety level number 4. Conspiracy theories. It was the originated the virus, which were refuted on the basis of scientific evidence that the virus has natural origins. Look at this. We have Washington Post article. We have the Science Journal. We have the New York Times. We have the Guardian. We have it is not a laboratory construct. I don't know. Oh, this is from ABC News. Okay. All right. So a lot of news sources. We also had Michael Alsterheim, the guy who was on he was on the Majority Report recently. He was also on Joe Rogan. He's been a like a virology expert. He said that this virus is too complicated for one that we can make. That there's no possible way within human ability for us to have made a virus like that. It has too many mutations that we couldn't control, that we can't currently control for. So I don't know. That one's kind of hard to verify. Okay, maybe let's say maybe Wuhan is the only epidemiology lab in the entirety of China. I highly doubt that, but maybe it's true. Okay. Still doesn't change anything. They've made perhaps one claim that might be true.
That it's headed by a literal communist named Dr. Ghebreyesus that has a controversial past of covering up at least 3 epidemics of cholera in Ethiopia. It's not like the president of China's wife is a World Health Organization goodwill ambassador who works with Dr. Ghebreyesus.
The president of China's wife is friends with another person in an organization. I mean, okay. I don't. This is just saying, isn't it interesting? I mean, sure, okay, all right.
I'm sure that is not a conflict of interest in any way, and it's not.
I mean, is that a conflict of interest? That doesn't seem like a conflict of interest to me. Just knowing somebody, Like, also, first of all, we have no evidence that they don't provide any evidence that they're close friends. But secondly, it's a natural thing that you're probably going to make some friends if you're a world leader or or the spouse of a world leader. You're probably going to make some friends who are also doing important things worldwide. That just seems like something natural. This is not evidence of any sort of bad behavior on that fact. Now, if there is evidence that there is, I guess we'll find out if there's evidence of some sort of, I don't know, bad interplay between these two. But just being friends with somebody who you also have a professional connection with does not necessarily mean that you are committing a global crime against humanity.
Like the WHO
I don't know.
completely ignored this email from the government of Taiwan asking if they should be concerned about these new mysterious pneumonia cases. It's only a mere coincidence.
Wait, sorry, what is this? Let's see.
Be concerned about these trust in any way. And it's not like
Okay.
the WHO completely ignored this email from the government of Taiwan asking if they should be concerned about these new mysterious pneumonia cases.
How do we know
Only
they
a mere
ignored it?
Coincidence that it seems like the WHO was covering
It doesn't even have a
this-
signature on it. Like, this is just a made up thing. Where is the link to this? Where is the source for this? There's no signature. This just literally anybody could have typed this up into Google, into Word. Anybody.
It seems like the WHO was covering up this virus to the point where it looks like they may have actually wanted a global pandemic.
Wow! Now that's a jump. Okay, so let me get this straight. The logic here is that one person who's in a leadership position, at the WHO is potentially some level of friend with the Chinese president's wife, and a purported email that may or may not exist, that we have no evidence for actually existing, this email not being acted on, although we have no evidence that they didn't act on it. We also have no evidence as to what they did with the email. Who knows? Is it possible that maybe they literally they didn't see the email? As in an email was sent and there was just a bureaucratic failure? I don't know. None of this points to the fact of the conclusions that they're saying.
New mysterious pneumonia.
Yeah, what fucking whiplash,
It's only
right?
a mere coincidence that it seems like the WHO was covering up this virus to the point where it looks like they may have actually wanted a global pandemic.
Yeah, okay.
Like when-
All right, so this is where it goes completely off into crazy land. So, first of all, every single bit of this video that we've watched so far has been incredibly, incredibly manipulative. And there's been no citations. Oh, I know, right? We probably should do... I should do some QAnon shit at some point, because this shit is crazy. And it's really interesting to talk about because you get to see where they, it becomes very apparent where they make the skips. Yeah, maybe we'll do QAnon in the future. We'll see. Yeah, no, this video wouldn't exist if it started in a European country, for sure.
Said a month after the outbreak that there was no clear evidence of human-to-human transmission of the novel coronavirus.
Yeah, and then they promptly went back on that. They literally promptly changed that when they realized that there was evidence of it. But also, I don't know that this is even talking about the same disease or that this post is even real.
Closing off borders would not be effective, even though countries who did close off their borders early on had
Okay.
noticeably smaller amounts of cases of this virus. Of course, talking
Yeah.
about this or associating the virus
Yeah,
in
the cat
any
is
way with
disturbing.
China is completely racist.
I mean, no. But if you are trying to say things like this was made in China and that the WHO wants a global pandemic at the behest of the wife of the president of China, yeah, that's pretty racist. That's getting into that's getting into pretty fucking racist shit.
Even though
Absolutely.
China is not a race, it's a country, and the
Really? Come on. Come on.
origin of the virus. We also have to forget about Zika, Ebola, German measles, Lyme disease, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, Guinea.
What does any of this have to do? Wait, I'm sorry, what? What does this have to do with anything?
Even though China is not a race, it's a country, and the origin of the virus. We also have to forget about Zika, Ebola, German measles, Lyme disease, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, guinea worm, MERS, norovirus,
what does
Japanese
any of this
encephalitis, and West Nile that were all named after their places of origin.
No, that's not true at all. That's not true. First of all, West Nile was not named for the place. It was named after something completely else. Lyme disease was not named for a fucking place, as far as I know. Also, some of these are not the official names of these diseases. These are the colloquial names. And in 2015, I believe it was, let me see. Naming diseases after location. Let me see. Yes, this stopped. Yes, they used to call certain diseases used to be called after places, but they changed this. Let's see, where they were thought to have. Okay, so I guess maybe Zika was. I guess that was a place. Whatever. It can be inaccurate, and they changed this standard, like 10 years ago or something. 2003. No, where was it here? Let me find where it was. Where is it here? I know about this. I've read this article a long time ago when we were still talking about this shit. Oh yeah, it was 2015. The World Health Organization came together and said we are no longer going to be naming diseases after places because it's unfair, because it leads to discrimination against those places. Yeah, the Spanish flu, which originated in fucking Kansas. Yeah. So they're just wrong about this. Like, yes, there are places in the past we did name certain diseases after places that we thought that it came from, but it was recognized by literally by a predominant majority of fucking professionals that it's a bad idea to do so because it's a disease.
Of course, what is important here, though, is being politically correct.
Oh, yeah, here we go again. Oh, they're crying about political correctness. Yes, it's political correctness to suggest that trying to blame a country, blame a single country for the chance appearance of a disease within their country is a bad idea.
About the lives of billions of people and the global economic collapse. So take that, xenophobes. But it's totally not racist that China's businesses are now refusing to serve black people due to COVID-19 fears, and that all black people are being forced into mandatory testing and quarantine.
What does this have to do with anything? Literally, what does this have to do with anything?
And while that sounds extremely racist, it isn't. We can also just totally trust the virus and death numbers coming out of China, because again, it's not like China has ever lied about anything before.
You mean like the United States, which has been repeatedly exposed? We have been endlessly exposed for lying about the infection rate. And in fact, our fucking president, that's the thing. You can talk all you want about China and you can come up with all these fucking incredibly stupid and complex conspiracy theories with red lines going here to there. But guess what? You can just turn on the fucking news in America and you can watch Donald Trump in fucking 3 months ago saying it's nothing. It's a hoax, folks. So, yeah, this is kind of a stupid point.
People in any danger. I'm sure the stacks of thousands of urns outside of funeral homes and the fact that employees at the crematoriums were working 19-hour days in February is totally not related to any sort of suspicious.
Yes, that's true,
Musebank.
That's true.
Whatever they're spraying people down with here is totally also fine to breathe in. Anyway,
okay, I don't even know what this is. Like, this is just a random blurry video with no context or source. This literally could be a skit. This could be a skit from a comedy show. Who the fuck knows? What the fuck is this shit?
Going on here.
What is this?
If the video is not removed and I don't go to Canadian jail, I'll make a part 2 because there's a lot more to this entire story that needs to be covered instead of covered up.
Yeah.
As always, thank you for your support. Links in the description.
So the conclusion, let me get through this. Let me just get through this real quick. Yeah, it could be the fucking Vape Nation machine. How do we know? Yeah, he's literally on national TV. This is the brain poisoning. This is the conservative brain poisoning. They have to go and like do Pepe Sylvia shit all over the walls instead of just going, "Oh yeah, our fucking president in our country is on national TV, not even attempting to hide the fact that he was calling the virus a hoax." Oof. Yeah. That doesn't surprise me, Rail Roberto. They're both equally unhinged. Yeah. Okay. So let me try and process the conclusions of this video. The video alleges that the virus was made in China deliberately and then accidentally leaked out on purpose by the WHO because they wanted a pandemic to happen. This video is genuinely incoherent. And if this is something that you find convincing, I strongly, strongly encourage you to challenge the way that you consume information. Yeah, like this is pretty fucking... Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, Alex Jones accused fucking kids, like kids' families who got killed in a school shooting of being fucking crisis actors. Alex Jones is unhinged and completely dishonest and a fucking like homeopathic pill seller. Yeah, Alex Jones cat sucks. Sorry, dude, this video sucked, man. Yeah. No, I don't think I want to watch any more of this. This is like boring shit. Like this was just incoherent. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, this was bad. Sorry, this was really bad. This was not convincing at all. Yeah. No, I don't think we're going to do any more of this. This is boring.